Grade 6, Lesson 2.17, Thermal Mass Investigation Part 3. In this experiment, students will conduct an investigation to determine how specific factors affect the way that materials heat up. And in this case, we will focus on thermal mass. So we already have our experiment set up. We have 4 different materials here on screen. We have rocks, flour, paper, and potting soil. And your students can bring in whatever materials that they want to test. And you can set up your experiment to test multiple materials at one time. Because we are going to speed up this demonstration, we have 4 PocketLab weathers connected at the same time, sending data to our app already. So we are going to start recording so that we have the data saved. On the top left, we have the rock temperature. On the top right, we have the flour temperature. On the bottom left, we have the paper temperature. And on the bottom right, we have the potting soil temperature. We will place the temperature probes inside the materials and then tape them down as part of our procedure. And students should refer to the thermal mass investigation worksheet for the procedure and steps to do observations and guidance on the experimental setup and methods for this experiment. Okay, we are recording data, and now we will turn on our heat lamps. And the materials are placed so that they're roughly equal distance from the heat sources, and then we will record data over time. One thing that is helpful for you when getting started is to let all these materials be at room temperature from when you start your investigation, so that they all have the same starting point that will make the data analysis easier. All the data that you see here coming across the screen will be recorded and available for you or your students to do their own data analysis and interpret the findings. As a reminder, the top left screen is data for the rocks. The top right is the flour. The bottom left is the paper. And the bottom right is the soil. And after 5 minutes, you can see that the rock temperature went from room temperature, about 25 degrees C, up to about 32 degrees C. The flour went from room temperature to 27 degrees C. The paper went from room temperature to approximately, we can hover over here, 42 degrees C. And the potting soil dipped in temperature temporarily as the potting soil was below room temperature, and then started to climb, and after 5 minutes was at about 26.4 degrees C. Your students should record these observations in the worksheet and draw conclusions from their findings while interpreting their data.